I spent $700 on a massive OG Ninjago haul that was supposed to be 100% complete. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Some of the sets were nearly perfect, some were missing key parts, and some were just straight up wrong. But was it a scam? Let's break it all down. So this all started one day while I was chilling in bed, bored out of my mind with nothing better to do than doom scroll on Facebook Marketplace, when suddenly I saw it. A listing for the Kai Fighter, one of my favorite rebooted sets from my favorite season, and it was only $50, and upon further inspection, it was only 10 minutes away from me. I decided to check the seller's profile, and that's when I saw it. The Holy Grail, or so I thought. I quickly messaged them and inquired about availability and prices of every single Ninjago set they had to offer. They assured me that each set was complete and that every piece was accounted for, including minifigures. After a couple days of research, negotiating, scheduling conflicts, and anxiety, I finally pulled the trigger. I hopped in the car and sped over to the meeting spot, eager to collect my prize. $700 cash in hand, which was much less than they asked for, and seemed to me like a good deal at the time. And nothing was going to stop me from getting there. It wouldn't be until I got home and built each set that I realized the grave mistake I had made. The first red flag was that they wouldn't provide additional photos other than the ones included on each listing. I should have known. The next red flag was that when I got to the meetup spot, I was greeted by two people who are not who I had been messaging on Facebook. As it turns out, the person I was messaging was just a kid who's my age and is away at college and told his parents that they could sell off his old Ninjago collection. Lucky me, right? They seemed friendly enough though, and I took a look through the boxes to make sure everything was there. How could I have known which pieces were missing? I wasn't just going to sit there and count them all out. I checked, and at first glance it seemed like all the minifigures were there and correct as well. I gave them the money, shook hands, and the deed was done. I went home that night and got to building, and over the course of the next few weeks I knocked them out one by one to reveal the truths of what I had just done. I'm kind of going to try and speedrun these because these are the ones I built off camera. So just to make it easy for you, half of the Venomari Shrine was complete. The Hover Hunter was 99% complete. It was just missing one piece on the back. And the Stormfighter, don't get me started. Like half of it's missing. It's hard to tell because I tried to fill in the blanks, but like half of it's missing. And Cole's Earth Driller here was another one that was about 99% complete, and this was the first one I did on camera, so this one really set the pace. This one gave me a false sense of hope for what was yet to come. The Kai Fighter here was another one I was so excited for. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. This was one of my favorite sets as a kid. This was the first rebooted set I ever got. Rebooted's my favorite season, Kai's my favorite ninja, bada bing, bada boom, it was a match made in heaven. And this one was also about 98% complete. I gotta be honest, I can't lie. So I was pretty happy with this one. And it really had me looking forward to and optimistic for all the other sets to come. And then I got to the Overborg attack, and this was the beginning of the end. I mean, half of Lloyd's motorcycle was missing, half of Borg's motorcycle was missing. It was not pretty. And let me tell you, I was so excited for the Rattlecopter. I wanted this one as a kid. I was excited for the minifigures in it. I was rewatching OG Ninjago. I was having a great time. And it was like 70% completed, which was a real blow to the confidence. The Boulder Blaster, I'm not gonna lie, wasn't too excited for. I used to have it back when it first came out. Cole's my least favorite ninja. I have the Legacy version. I didn't really care. It was one of the ones that's like 99% complete though. Speaking of which, the Kondrai Copter attack, I was very excited to build. I always wanted it as a kid for the Skylar figure, and I think it's so cool the play feature where the net pops out, but unfortunately, it was at this moment where tragedy struck.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh my gosh. The whole thing. Everywhere. This is all that's left. That's all that's left, the whole thing. Dude, all I needed was to try and find one little replacement piece, and I dropped the whole bucket of spare parts right onto my desk. I sent pieces everywhere. It just made the process so much harder. The Tread Assault, I'm not really gonna lie, I kind of only wanted him for scales. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad to have it. I would have been a lot more happy if it was like even 60% complete. I would say it's like 59% complete. It's not great. There's no rubber bands, but hey, at least I got scales, right? He's a rare figure. He's hard to find. This is another one I was super excited for because the Fangpires are my favorite. I was excited for Zane's snowmobile, so I was really happy. This is another one I was lucky enough, fortunate enough for it to be about 98% complete, which I cannot say for this one. Now, when you see the finished result, you might think, oh hey, that doesn't look too bad, but that's because I had to fill in so many missing pieces with my own, and I couldn't even do a very good job. I didn't have half of the right pieces and half the right colors. And by the time I got to the Destructoid, I was pretty much over it. This was another one that's maybe about 70% complete. I mean, it was just so frustrating that I wasted all this money. It felt like a waste to me. It was just so discouraging for what was still yet to come. Now, I was really scared for the mech dragon because when I was looking at the bags, it did not seem like there was going to be enough pieces for the dragon and the car, but to my surprise, hey, it actually worked out pretty good. Most of the pieces were there. I would say 99% of the car was there, and about 80% of the dragon. The real thing that was missing was the jail cell, and there were a couple issues with the minifigures, but I'll get more into that a little bit later. But for me, the real star of the show was the Ultrasonic Raider. I used to have this set as a kid. It was the first ever Season 1 Ninjago set I had, and over the years I broke it down and lost it. So I was super duper excited to finally have this bad boy back in my hands. And here it is, the grand collection reveal in all its glory. Some sets were about as close as 90 to 99% complete. Some were pretty much complete but missing some pieces here and there. And some were, well, some were just worse than others. I tried to fill in the blanks as best I could as I went along, but on such short notice, I just didn't have the proper pieces laying around to fix some of them. These ones here are all the ones that are about 90 to 99% complete. As you can see, there's only a few little pieces missing here and there, nothing too crazy. And thankfully, some of the ones that I was most excited about fall into this category. These ones here are about roughly 70% complete. They're missing a decent chunk of pieces here and there, but I tried to fill in the blanks as best I could using replacement parts. Unfortunately, some were worse than others, but, you know, what are you gonna do? And these are the pretty rough ones. They're not in great shape, which is pretty devastating, but you pay for what you get, I suppose, right? Now, the minifigs for me were really the big drawing point. There are a lot of great minifigures in here, but unfortunately, not even the minifigures were safe. Samurai Nia here has the wrong face print. Kai's face is pretty banged up. Cole has plain legs. Lloyd has no hair and the wrong face. Zane has Jay's face. This is the wrong Sensei Garmadon figure entirely. Borg had the wrong hip piece, which is like such a minor nitpick. Cole had no hair, so I gave him one of my own, and this Lloyd is just all sorts of wrong. It's the wrong torso and face, I guess. Overall, I mean, it's not too bad. Most of the figures are in pretty good condition, and they're all small changes I can easily fix, but these are the standout guys. These are all the minifigures that are new to my collection that I've never had before, except for Pythor, but I'll explain that, including the Fang Blades and the Serpentine Staffs. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I actually did own the Ultrasonic Raider, so I did already have a Pythor, but I lost his head, so it was really nice to have a new replacement. So yeah, not everything was complete as I was told. Some sets were nearly there, some were missing a few pieces, and some were just straight up rough. I did the best with what I had, but a few still feel incomplete. The side builds, almost all missing. The minifigures, mostly there, mostly. There were a few mix-ups, wrong faces, missing prints, swapped parts, but at least all the important hard-to-find chase pieces like the Serpentine Staffs were included. That said, even with all the inaccuracies, I'm still really happy with the haul. The Serpentine Generals were a huge win, especially Scales and Fang Tom, who are two of my favorites. I also finally got Kid Lloyd, Master Chen, and Skylar, plus a proper classic Pythor to replace the one I lost as a kid. I missed out on a lot of these sets back in the day, so getting to experience them now, even if they aren't perfect, feels pretty special. Sure, I would have paid less if I knew what I was getting, but at the end of the day, it could have been worse. And hey, you can never have too many minifigs, especially the classics, and you live and you learn. Let me know what you guys think. Was this haul a win, or did I get scammed? And if you've ever bought secondhand Lego, what's the best or worst deal you've ever gotten? I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.